Okay, so should we start now?
Please, Manoju.
Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwarah, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah, Sadashivasamarambham, Shankaracharya Madhyamam, Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru Parampara. In our last session, we had covered up to 260th verse. 257th verse, we discussed about Bhranti Kalpita Jagat Kala Ashraya. Swashraya Cha Sadasad Vilakshanam. Then Nishkalam Nirupama Buddhiyat Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavaya. So, Bhranti Kalpita Jagat Kala Ashraya, that which is the substratum of the entire existence or the creation, Bhranti Kalpita. So, and whatever is seen as this creation or the world around or the universe, whatever it is just a projection on the substratum of the pure self, pure consciousness, pure self. So, and of course, for any projection, there has to be a substratum of reality. Without the substratum of reality, illusion cannot appear. So, for the illusion to appear, also there has to be a substratum of reality. So, as we have seen so many examples of cinema and a cinema screen, snake and the rope, without the reality of rope, the substratum of rope, there cannot be an illusion of a snake, and so on. Then Swa Ashrayacha. So Swa Ashrayacha, actually the pure self is causeless. It is, so to say, the cause of all the effects, and itself is causeless. It is the causeless cause of all the effects. So it is not any effect of any cause. Self-existent. Then Sad Asad Vilakshanam, beyond the gross and the subtle. Here, Sad Asad is taken as gross, Sad and Asad. Sad is taken as subtle, Asad is taken as gross, beyond the subtle and the gross. So, because gross can be perceived by the sense organs, subtle can be comprehended or known by the mind and the intellect. So it is beyond the sense organs and the mind and the intellect. So therefore, beyond the gross and the subtle. Sadasad Vilakshanam. And Nishkala, there are no parts to it. Indivisible, akhanda, homogeneous. Nirupam. Nirupam means there is no comparison. Being infinite, it is the only one. There cannot be more than one infinite. So there cannot be any comparison to infinite. Therefore, to find an appropriate example from the relative existence of the finite world to emphasize on some point is very difficult, because infinite is infinite. And all the examples that we quote from the world around us, they have their own limitations. It can't be stressed too much. So, Nirupam. So there cannot be any, what you call, comparison as such. Then, of course, we have seen, because the problem is, we have learned to think Thoughts only. When we acquire knowledge, it is thought-based only. Now, something which is beyond words, which is thought-free, then cannot be expressed in thoughts also. So, it is objectless, thought-free, pure awareness. There is no comparison to that. Then in the 258 verse, we saw the Shadvikara, the six modifications. And self is, of course, divided of these six modifications of birth, growth, modifications, and then old age, disease, and death, so on. So these are the six modifications which all the forms the jivas have to go through. So, and of course, the creation is subject to creation, sustenance, and destruction. These three, anything that is produced in time goes through sustained for some time and then it is destroyed in time. So this is something other than that. And the cause of all this is Brahman, the substratum, the absolute self. So Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavaya. Then we have seen in 259th verse, Asta, Asta, like the Suryasta, the setting of the sun. So Asta is to set or setting like the sunset. So where all the differences, all the dualities, they all disappear. So that is Asta. All the differences go, distinctions, nothing is there. They all disappear. Where there is absolute absence of all the pluralities, multiplicities, dualities of names and forms and so on. So, and this is self-effulgent that shines forth. That only remains. Because it is of the nature of pure existence, objectless and thought-free. So, anapata lakshanam. It is never of the nature of non-existence. So, it is pure existence, absolute existence. In fact, nothing can exist apart from it, other than it. All the other things will be subject to this absolute self. Their existence is not independent of this. Actually, their existence is only an appearance on the substratum. So, this should be very clear. When we go further, the things will be much clearer in this. So, Nistaranga Jalarashi, Nishchalam. And this example also we have seen, Nistaranga Jalarashi. Like when you observe the surface of the ocean with millions of waves, and suddenly just imagine on the screen of your mind, all the waves have calmed down and there is not a ripple also on the surface of the ocean. Everything calms down. There is no movement. So, this is a state that is attained because as a normal state of mind is always restless. Something or the other goes on in the mind. Agitations are there, restlessness are there, some thoughts, this, that, and goes on. So, in the state of meditation, we observe that where there is no ripple, there is no disturbance on the surface of the vast ocean. Not a single wave, not a single ripple, nothing, absolutely calm. The eruption, if the comparison with the ocean is the eruption of the thoughts and emotions in our mind, intellect equipment. That is causing all the problem. So, Nistaranga Jalarashi, Nishchalam. And then Nitya Mukta. Nitya Mukta. It is ever free, Mukta, liberated. There is no question of any bondage or anything like that. It is ever liberated. It is not bound or limited by space, time, and object and all that. Avibhakti. Avibhakti is one indivisible. Avibhakti, akhanda. Then in the 260th verse we saw Ekameva Sad Aneka Karanam. So one non-dual principle of this pure existence, without which nothing can exist, is the cause of everything else. Cause of multitudes of phenomena, names and forms, and so on. That is perceived, of course, by the senses. Limited. But without the Sad, the causeless cause of all the effects, nothing can exist. This Ananta Koti Brahmanda also can't exist without that. Therefore, one can say as if, in a manner of saying that, it is the cause of everything. Though in itself, it is a non-doer, it doesn't cause anything. In its presence, so many things happen. Like we have seen the example of in the presence of sunlight, many things happen. The rains, what is the cause of rain? They say, oh, sunlight is the cause of rain. When it falls on the water, it evaporates, the clouds are formed, and then it rains. If we ask the sun, did you cause the rain? I said, I'm not responsible for anything. I'm a non-doer. I'm just there. I'm not doing anything. So in its presence, things are happening. So similarly, this absolute truth, it is not doing anything. Its presence, it happens. Some appearance come. That also, it has got only relative reality, not an absolute reality. So, Karana Antara, Nirasa Karan. So, it is, of course, the generally for creation of anything, the three causes we have studied earlier also, the material cause, the efficient cause, and the instrumental cause. So, this is three causes rolled into one. So, they are not different as regards this absolute truth is concerned. And Karya Karana Vilakshanam Swayam, and it is distinct from the cause and effect. It is not the effect of any cause, it is the causeless cause of all effects, and yet it has got nothing to do with cause and effect. So it is distinct from cause and effect being the substratum of everything. It's independent. So it is, of course, beyond the intellect and the mind and all the senses, and therefore all the appearances of names and forms, etc. Therefore, this last time we discussed, Maya is brought in to explain certain things which is inexplicable. So temporarily, then what is the cause of this then? If Brahman is not the cause, how this world appears and how we are experiencing it, we are observing it, then this Maya is brought in to explain things. So Ishvara with the Upadi, the conditioning of Maya Shakti has produced this creation. This is what is said then. So therefore, actually, if you look at it, cause itself is the effect in some other form. Because nothing exists other than that, then that alone is, and that alone appears in different forms without losing its own nature. Like, for example, water is there, and then from water, we see on the surface of the water waves, bubbles, surf, and further, if we go, steam, snow, ice, they're all there. And then they are nothing but water only. Basically, the water, but then different forms, solid, liquid, gas, but it is basically water only. And then the waves and the bubbles and the surf, all are water. So the cause itself appearing as effect. That means there is no addition of anything else. It's the same thing that appears this way. It's only an appearance. So it is basically water appearing at these things. Similarly, it is only one thing exists, that is the pure self. And then it appears as this universe, this cosmos, with names and forms and so on. So this is the causeless cause of everything. Now, as we have done up to this 260th verse, today we begin a new shloka, 261st. We'll take up for discussion in the meditation shlokas. Nirvikalpakamanalpamaksharam yaksharaksara vilakshanam param nityamavyaya sukham niranjanam brahma tattvamasi bhavamatma bhavayatmani nirvikalpakam analpam aksharam yat kshara akshara vilakshanam param nityam avyaya sukham niranjanam brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani. Now here Adi Shankaracharya gives us another pointers to contemplate on. Nirvikalpakam. Nirvikalpakam, that Brahman is without, is free of Maya. It is not subject to any modification, free of Maya. So it is free of all the vikalpa, sankalpa vikalpa. Sankalpa vikalpa, they are the modifications of the mind intellect equipment in the form of thoughts and emotions, agitation, restlessness, and so on. That is, of course, created by the vasana, embedded in the subconscious mind, which from time to time manifests in the form of kamana, desires. From this vasana, the impressions that we carry from our past several births in our subconscious mind. So, Brahma Tattva is, of course, free from all this vikalpa because it is not the mind intellect and its modification. Analpam. What is analpam? Alpam means small or less or finite, one can say, different meaning, little or small or finite or limited and so on. And analpam is the opposite of that. Analpam is the infinite. So, not limited by anything, not limited by the space, time, objects, as well as causation. For everything else other than the pure self, there is a cause, and limited by cause also. Like this form itself, body is also limited by space, time, objects, and causation. The cause is, of course, the karma. Prarabdha, karma is the cause of this body. So it is limited by that cause. And of course, limited by the space, time, and other things and beings around us also. So, so here by saying analpam, all the finitude, all the limitations are rejected completely. Then akshara. Kshara is that which decays over a period of time, is subject to modification and decay and destruction. That is kshara. And akshara is that which is not subject to any kind of modification or decay. It remains the same at all times. So, as we have seen, yadrishyam tajjadam. Whatever is seen is inert, insentient, non-living. Even the body is seen. Body is, of course, inert, insentient. It attains sentiency through the consciousness, without which it is just an inert matter. So, yadrishyam tajjadam, whatever is seen is jada. Yadrishyam tajjadam, yadjadam, tadalpam. Whatever is inert is limited and finite. Tad alpam. And then Yat alpam tad nashtam. That which is alpam, that which is finite, is subject to destruction. So, this is it. Yad drishyam tad jadam, yad jadam tad alpam, yad alpam tad nashtam. So, yat kshara akshara vilakshanam. That which is other than the kshara and akshara is the illuminator of both, the substratum. Therefore, param, supreme. And then nityam avyaya sukham. That is eternal, infinite bliss. Nityam, eternal. Avyaya, which doesn't lessen, which doesn't reduce. Avyaya, it remains the same. Sukham, eternal. So, this sukham, infinite sukham, now it is very difficult to even imagine infinite happiness. In our ignorance, we have only known fleeting, momentary, ephemeral joys and pleasures of this world. Just momentary, just lasts for a few seconds, few minutes, an hour or two, a day or two, the euphoria is over. That's it. Because they are all experienced at the level of the sensory perception and mind and intellect. This infinite bliss is unimaginable. We simply can't imagine. What is infinite bliss may be? Great saint of Maharashtra, Sant Jnaneshwar, he was trying to explain to the lay people what this infinite happiness is like. Some hint he was trying to give to the lay people. So he said that if we get to taste the most delicious food item in this world, the most delicious. So nothing more delicious than that. What will be the quantum of that happiness? And while we are tasting this most delicious food, the best fragrance that is available in this world, that is also coming to us. So now our joy or happiness is at two levels, at the level of the taste as well as at the level of the smell. While we are enjoying that delicious food, we are also getting most fragrant smell also is coming. So twice, the joy is twice. And then at the same time, the most beautiful melody is also being played. So at the level of the ear also, we are enjoying that sound. So at the level of the taste, smell and sound, at three levels, we are having the best. So triple is the level of our joy. And while these three are going on, then we are also seeing the most beautiful sight that one can imagine. That also simultaneously we are seeing. So the level of our joy is at the four levels of the sensory perception. And finally, if we are also having the sensory perception, the best sensory perception of the skin, at the level of the skin, and the touch sense. So what will be the quantum of that happiness? 5 times, not just one sensory perception, 5 times. Now imagine all human beings on earth enjoying at all 5 sensory perceptions simultaneously. What will be the quantum of that joy? Now imagine all the other creatures of this world, not just the human beings, but other creatures also, and whatever the number of sensory perceptions they may have, some may have 4, 3, 2, whatever it may be, and all of them are enjoying at all their sensory perception. What will be the quantum of that joy? Further he goes, he says that what about all the beings in all the other lokas enjoying at all their sensory perceptions, where of course the sensory perceptions will be higher than compared to what we have here, simultaneously. What will be the quantum of that joy, right up to Brahma Loka? So then he says that all that joy together is the smallest unit of that infinite bliss. It is unimaginable. So this infinite bliss is what he's talking about. And to have the abidance in this infinite blissful awareness, one needs to dissolve the ego. Ego is the only obstacle that comes in between. Dissolution of this ego, then only we transcend the identity with the mind intellect equipment along with the body, BMI, body, mind, intellect, everything, sensory perceptions and everything. That is when we can be in that infinite blissful self, pure awareness, blissful awareness. And then Niranjanam. Niranjanam, it is without any blemish. No blemish, absolutely. Niranjanam, pure, no blemish. Of course, anything, what is blemish? As regards the pure self is concerned, what can be the blemish? Blemish is anything other than the self is blemish, as regards the pure self is concerned. That is all that is there. So, what are these blemishes? Ignorance, the panchakoshas, and then the vasanas, kamanas, they are all the blemishes that are there. So, identified with this panchakoshas and their modifications and the gunas, they are all the blemish that is there superimposed on this pure self. So, this is without any blemish. Niranjanam, Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavayatman. That Brahman meditate upon continuously. So then that was in 261. We move on to the 262nd verse. Yad vibhati sadane kada brahmat nama rupa guna vikriyatmana hemava swayamana vikriyam sada brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani hemavat swayam avikriyam sada. So yad vibhati sad anekada brahmat nama rupa guna vikriyatmana hemavat swayam avikriyam sada brahma tattvamasi bhavaya. So sad anekada brahmat yad vibhati. Now yad vibhati sad anekada brahmat. That which is one appears as many. Due to what? Due to the superimposition of the perceiver. It appears many as many. So, Brahma. What is Brahma? This is the senses plus the deluded mind. That gives the perception of this Brahma. And Brahma is what? The multiplicity of this existence that we see. Because the one that is beyond the perception of senses, mind, and the intellect, and therefore can't be perceived. So without not perceiving the substratum, we are only focused on what is superimposed on that. And who has superimposed? That is the senses and the mind, the deluded mind. That is what perceives these multitudes of names and forms. Now, Nama Rupa Guna Vikriyatmana. What is perceived by the instruments, called the senses, mind, and intellect, and of course the activities also, Vikriyatmana, the activities. Without these four, suppose there is no name, form, qualities, and activities. If we imagine minus this, what happens? Then what remains is only the substratum, nothing else. So what remains is only Brahman, which is beyond the perception of senses, mind, and intellect. Now, Adi Shankaracharya gives here the example of Hemavat Swayam Avikriyam Sada. Hemavat. Hemavat means like gold. Like gold, Avikriyam Sada. Not subject to modification. like gold. Now, gold, what happens is that we have got gold jewelry, and there are different names and forms of gold jewelry. Now, the thing is that the jewelry, the gold jewelry, maybe wedding ring and this ring and that ring, there is some relationship also associated with those ornaments, those jewelry. And then, but without gold, those gold ornaments cannot exist. The substratum of gold ornament is gold. But different names and forms are given, and for different functions and different relationships are associated with different ornaments, like some engagement ring or wedding ring and so on. So that relationship is there. Or sometimes this is my lucky charm. Some gold ornament is used and somebody says this is my lucky charm. All these associations are there. But basically, it boils down to only gold. Names and forms are given. We only give the names and forms, produce different forms and give different names. But without gold, it has got no existence whatsoever of its own. So this the world that is perceived to this mind, intellect, and its modifications. This is what actually happens. Without the mind, intellect, it doesn't exist. This is the thing. Without the mind, intellect, it will cease to exist. Example, without the mind, intellect functioning, what happens is that what remains is only the substratum. See, mind intellect is active in the waking plane of consciousness and the dream state of consciousness. And therefore, we see the waking world and, of course, the dream world. In the absence of the mind intellect, temporary absence of the mind intellect in the deep sleep state, we don't see any world at all. Its absence is there, but the consciousness is still there, though our awareness is not there due to ignorance. So there is no perception, only the substratum remains. Now, this substratum of the pure self, this is very important. You see, in our reasons for the 14 reasons that we have seen why we cannot be this body, we have seen the 14th reason, that the entity whose substratum or the support and the knower or the illuminator are one, that entity is an illusion, that we have seen while discussing this particular reason why we cannot be the self. So, and of course, we went into details that all that which is known as this idam is an object. So is defined as the word as idam, this. So it also includes our body also. The cause of this world cannot be any object or any part of the world. Things of the world are not different from the world, and therefore the cause of the world has to be other than the world. So anything other than the world is the subject, the pure self, the substratum. So therefore that pure self, which is the substratum, which is not other than our own self, they are not different. So that is the cause of this entire existence. So an inert object cannot know itself. I, as a conscious knower, knows the inert objects. So I have to be other than the inert object. I have to be other than the inert body also, through which perception is happening. So I am the substratum or the cause as well as the illuminator, because I know. An inert object cannot know itself or any other object. I, as conscious knower, knows the inert objects. So of course I am the substratum, and as well as I am the illuminator. Support is always subtler than that which it supports. So gross is always supported by the subtle. Subtle will be supported by subtler. Water is subtler than the earth, and therefore we have seen 75% of water on this planet Earth is supported by 25% Earth. Supports the 25% Earth. So similarly, space is the subtlest of all the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and space. Space is the subtlest of all. And space supports everything. Both earth, water, fire, heat, air, everything is supported. Not only that, not just the planet Earth, all the planets, all the solar system, all the cosmoses, they are all supported in space. And space is the subtlest of all. Everything is suspended in space. But again, space is inert, insentient, and non-living. So there has to be an entity, a conscious knower, to know the existence of space and all that it supports. So that conscious knower is the support or the substratum of even the space, the subtlest of all elements. So now here another question will also come. How can the inert world manifest from consciousness? I am not the cause of the world as the seed is the cause of the tree or the milk is the cause of the curd. But I, the self, am the cause of the world as the rope is the cause of the illusory snake or the misapprehension of snake, illusion of a snake or misapprehension of a snake. The rope is the cause and the substratum of the illusory snake, which is a superimposition on that reality called the rope. So similarly, I am the substratum on which the world seems to appear. It is known in the scriptures, in the Shastras as Vivartavada. Vivartavada is what? That is, the world is only an appearance on the substratum of consciousness and there is no reality to it. Waves are only an appearance on the surface of the water. It has no independent existence apart from water. So, this Vivartavada is very important. When we bring up this Vivartavada, it is just an appearance. Then the question of who created this world, when was this world created, how did he create it, what was the material cause, and all that thing doesn't arise at all with the Vivartavada. It is just an appearance. So, space is inside the pot, but the all-pervasive space is infinitely outside the pot as well. The pot itself is in space. So similarly, consciousness is inside the body, but the subtler than the subtlest, all-pervasive consciousness is infinitely outside the body as well, in and out, all-pervading. The body itself is in consciousness. This consciousness is also the illuminator of the body simultaneously. So we see our own body as we have seen in the example of dream also, where both the substratum and the illuminator are one, that entity is an illusion. So the dream world is an illusion. The substratum of dream world is consciousness, and the illuminator of the dream world is again consciousness. In the dark moonless night, in the darkened bedroom with the sheet pulled over and lights off, with the eyes closed, we dream a bright early morning, taking a walk on the banks of a river. So what entity is illuminating that bright sunny morning with the eyes closed in the dark room? So it is on the substratum of consciousness, the projection is there, the dream projected by the individual mind, and its illuminator is again the consciousness, and it is all an illusion. So similarly, this entire, the knower of the body and the substratum of the body is the same, pure consciousness, and therefore this is also an illusion. The entire creation is projected, that Vivartavada, on the substratum of pure awareness. This is what it is. So, this particular thing is very important. Hemavat, the example that is given here. So, it goes through different, it appears like that, all different names and forms, but it is nothing more than gold. Gold ornaments, if the gold is removed from all that ornament, then what remains? Then nothing remains. everything goes off. So therefore, this is an important aspect that should be considered. Always we think in terms of external world because that is what we have experienced all this life. Now, taking that to be an illusion is a big jump. It is very difficult for us to comprehend that. So, Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavayat, that Brahman contemplate upon, Adi Shankaracharya says. Now, among the 10 shlokas, the 8 to meditation, this is the 10th one, the last one in this series. Yachakasa na paratat na param parat param pratyaga karasa rasatmakaksharam satyachit sukhamanantavavyayam brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani yacha kasti anaparam paratparam pratyag ekarasam atmana lakshanam atmalakshanam satyachit sukham anantam avyayam brahma tattvamasi bhavayat. Now yacha kasti is that which shines forth, that is self-effulgent, yacha kasti. Then anaparam means there is nothing beyond that, anaparam, nothing beyond that. Or one can also say that there is nothing other than that. That is a better way of saying, because actually there is nothing other than it. That alone is. Anaparam, and then paratparam is used here. Paratparam is ultimate, the most supreme. Paratparam. Para is supreme. Now here, para means sukshma or subtle. And sukshma is used to denote karana. And stool is the karya maybe. So that is the way it is. Karya karana. Karana, karya being the stool. So para is the cause of all the effects. So para is denoted as the karanam and karya being the stula. So sukshma is karanam and stula is the karya, the effect, the cause of all effects. Para. Para is the cause of all effects. The sansara or the body, mind, intellect, equipment and so on. Now, to have para karana, this here, what happens is that here, para as the karana, it indicates maya. So, paratparam is the substratum of maya. If para is maya, the cause of this world, para is maya, then paratpara is the substratum of that maya also. So, substratum or the cause of that maya, one can say. Without the substratum of reality, because without the substratum of reality, the illusion cannot exist. The effect cannot exist. The illusion cannot exist. For the illusion also, for the relative existence also, for the relative reality also, the substratum of absolute reality is required. So that supreme reality beyond which there is nothing, which is the very substratum of the cause of the universe, the sansara. Therefore, self is parat para. Superior to even the supreme, superior to that, parat para. Then pratyag ekarasa. Pratyag ekarasa is the very subject. It is the very subjective self, pratyaga, on which the panchakosha is projected, superimposed. And ekarasa means it always remains the same. There is no change. It is not subject to change. Pratyek ek rasa, that is, the essence is the same. Its essence doesn't change, remains the same. Then Satchit Sukham, which is, of course, of the nature of existence absolute, knowledge absolute, and bliss absolute. And Anantam, Anantam, eternal, unending, infinite. Avyayam, Avyayam, it is not subject to any decay as such. So, Avyayam. Now here, with these 10 shlokas, the instructions given by Adi Shankaracharya ends here. So, he gives us the pointers. Now, as we have seen so many times, we have discussed that the absolute self cannot be described as such, defined or described in words. Only pointers can be given towards that absolute self, absolute truth. So here in the 10 verses, Adi Shankaracharya is given several pointers to that absolute truth, the pure self, which is none other than our own real self. So, now these pointers are excellent for meditation. In and through, along with these 10 pointers given in these 10 verses and the 14 reasons we have come up with, we have discussed with why we cannot be this body. And of course, along with that, the Panchakoshas, it can be applied to that also. If these two together, it can be used for regular contemplation. In and through every activities throughout our day, the pointers should keep playing in our background. Like we go about doing our work and some background music is being played or something like that. So these pointers in the 10 verses, along with the 14 reasons that we have come up with, if these are continuously played in our background, in and through all the activities, so we'll be connected always, it will be there in the background. Ultimately, whatever we are doing, we are then going back again and again back to that, to our real self, the contemplation towards that, the self. And we want to transcend what we are not. So now, with these 10 shlokas, of course, the pointers to that meditation is over. Now, we go on to the 264th shloka. Now here, what Adi Shankaracharya gives us the instructions how to go about it. Uktamartham. Uktamarthamimamaatmani swayam bhavayet patitayuktabhirdhiyam संशयादिरहितं कराम्बुवत् तेन तत्व निगमो भविष्यति. Now, uktam artham imam atmani swayam bhavayet pratita yuktibhi dhiya संशय आदि रहितम कराम्बुवत् तेन तत्व निगम भविष्यति. Now, here, uktam artham imam atmani swayam bhavayet. Now, these pointers that are given here in the 10 verses should be contemplated upon deeply within during the meditation session. Then, pratita yukti bihi dhiya. Pratita yukti bihi dhiya. Now, here, nididhyasana, the contemplation should be according to the teachings of the Guru and the Shastra. In Vedic tradition, every statement has to be supported by the Shastra Pramana, Yukti Pramana, and Drishtanta Pramana. So, if a statement is there, in which scripture has it come, which Upanishad or Bhagavad Gita, Prasthantraya or Brahma Sutra, where it has come. So that has to be supported by that. Shastra Pramana is given. Then it has to be proven. Yukti Pramana. Logically, it has to be proven, that statement, for it to be accepted. And then, of course, Drishtanta Pramana. And whatever is logically derived at, it has to be supported by an example from the world of phenomena, from the relative existence also. So this is how in Vedic tradition we go on. Shravana sadhana is listening to the scriptures, and then mananam. Mananam, all the doubts get cleared when you reflect on that. And nididhyasanam, contemplation. In contemplation, we abide in that firmly. So contemplation, of course, all this pramana is used. Shastra pramana, yukti pramana, and then the drishtanta pramana. And now ready-made pointers are given to us by Adi Shankaracharya ji to contemplate upon. So, samshaya adi rahitam karambuvat. So now, here there will be no doubts. If this is followed, the contemplation is done according to the Vedic tradition. If that is followed, then there will be no chance of any doubts remaining. Samshaya adi rahitam. There won't be any doubts at all. It will be very clear, and clear as the example is giving here is karambuvat. Karambuvat means like the water in the hollow of our hand, or the famous text we had done earlier, astamlaka, as the amlaka fruit on the palm of the hand, as clear as that. So, no ambiguity there, no doubt there. Tena tattva nigamo bhavishyasi. By this technique, one will have the direct subjective awareness of oneself. So continuous contemplation, mananam, nididhyasanam, and meditation, dhyana on that. And then one will very soon, depending upon how much our mind is withdrawn from the external world or how much it is involved in that. So that will decide how much in depth we can enter our own self, our real essence, beyond all that. So, having said that, now, in the 265th shloka, Adi Shankaracharya says, Swabodhamatram parishuddha tattvam vijnaya sanghe nupavacha sainyem tadashraya swatmani sarvadastitah vilapaya brahmani vishwajatam. Swabodhamatram parishuddha tattvam Vijnaya Sanghe Nrupavacha Sainye Tad Ashraya Swatmani Sarvada Sthitah Vilapaya Brahmani Vishwajatam. Swabodha Matram. Now here, Swabodha Matram Parishuddha Tattva. Swabodha, Shuddha Bodha, pure knowledge. Now we have seen earlier also there are these three things. Ajnana, Vijnana, Ajnana, Jnana, Vijnana, and Prajnana. So Ajnana is of course ignorance. Jnana is knowledge. Vijnana is Vishesha Jnana, that is specific knowledge of a particular subject. So Jnana is general knowledge. Ajnana is ignorance. Jnana is general knowledge. Vijnana is specific knowledge. And then beyond these three is the Prajnana. What is the difference between jnana, ajnana, jnana and vijnana on one side and prajnana on the other side? The difference is only this much. Ajnana, ignorance, general knowledge, special knowledge, they are all based on thoughts. Prajnana is vritti rahita, thought free. That is the difference. And prajnana is the pure self where there are no thoughts. So, Vijnaya Sanghe Nrupavaccha Sainya. Now here Adi Shankaracharya is giving an example. Like the king in the army, all the soldiers, they have their duties to perform and they have been invested with some powers also given by the king to perform their duties. So according to that, they will perform their duties with the powers given by the king, depending upon their ranks and so on. So also Vijnaya Sanghe. Sanghe is what? Sanghe is the Panchakosha, the equipment that is superimposed, the conditioning of the Panchakoshas, the five sheaths, the body, the pranas, the mind, intellect, and ignorance. These are the Panchakoshas. So, Anandamaya Kosha, ignorance. So, these Panchakoshas. Now, this, of course, consciousness is the adhara or the support or the substratum of all this. And these physical body, the sense organs, the mind, the pranas, the intellect, they can function only with the sentiency borrowed from that pure consciousness. Without that, they are all inert. They are not independent of that. So, in the presence of this pure self, which is a non-doer, but in its presence, the inert, insentient Panchakosha acquires sentiency to function. Tad ashraya swatmani sarvada sthitaha. Now, getting disidentified with this Panchakosha and its modification, in the silence of that meditation, we get established in our own self, our own real self. So, tadashraya swatmani sarvadastitaha. Then vilapaya brahmani vishwajatam. Vilapaya brahmani vishwajatam. Now, here vilapaya brahmani means merge the entire existence into that Brahman, the pure self, merging into that. Now, then the waking world and the experience of the waking plane of consciousness, when this will merge in the pure self. So now, what is this? Vilapaya Brahmani Vishwajatam. That is the merging of the waker along with the waking world and the waking experience into the pure self, Brahman, or the higher dimension of consciousness. They are merged into that. As the dreamer, the dream world and the dream experience merges into the waker. So also the waker now. Waker, the waking world and the experience of the waking plane of consciousness merges into the pure self, or the higher dimension of consciousness, or one can call Turiya also. So they merge here, and the important thing is that as earlier it was said, Tadashraya Swatmani Sarvada Sthitaha. Brahmani, merging this. Merging this is what? That which actually never existed, only an appearance only. So merging should not be a big issue to that. That which is only an appearance. So with that, we move on to the last verse of this 52nd chapter. Now only one shlok is remaining. I think we'll complete this shlok also. बुद्धौ गुहायां सदसद्विलक्षणम् ब्रह्मास्ति सत्यं परमद्वितीयम् सदात्मना योऽत्र वसेद गुहायां पुनर्न तस्यांगगुहा प्रवेशः बुद्धौ गुहायां सद असद विलक्षणम ब्रह्म अस्ति सत्यम परम अद्वितीयम तद आत्मना यह अत्र वसेद गुहायां पुनः न तस्य अंगगुहा प्रवेशः ब्यूटिफुली here बुद्धौ गुहायां सदसद विलक्षण so in the cave of the spiritual heart, this is in the manner of saying. That doesn't mean that there is a heart like the organ that is functioning within the body, no, something like that. It is just an indication to show the core of our being. So they say cave of our heart or the intellect, one can say. It doesn't mean that it is something very tiny that is there inside our body. Then there is a heart, then there is a spiritual heart, then there is an intellect, and there is some cave there, and then inside this pure self is there. It is something very tiny. No, no, it is only a manner of saying. It is in the depth. It is beyond all the external names and forms, just to indicate that, because it has come so many times, words fall short to explain that. So something has to be used. Now, it is not something which is tiny, because self is of course infinite. There is no such thing as inside or outside. Inside some cave and all that thing. There is no such thing as inside and outside. It is infinite. It is just to say that it is beyond the gross and the subtle, and is realized in the depth, in the deep meditation, beyond the mind and the intellect. When we transcend the identity with the mind and the intellect, then only it is realized. It is for that reason it is said like that. So, and then beyond the mind, intellect, and the senses. And therefore, Buddhav Guhayam Sadasad Vilakshanam. Brahmasti Satyam Param Advitiyam. This Brahman, this absolute truth, this pure self is the Satyam Param Advitiyam. Param supreme and Advitiyam one be without a second, non-dual. There is no other than that. Then absolute. Tad Atmana Ya Atra Vaset Guhayam. Now, during meditation, one who enters this guha again, you have to put it into inverted commas, guha. There is no such cave as such. As we have seen, it is beyond when we go within that. So, this guha, one realizes himself to be the pure awareness, the Brahma Tattva. Punah na tasya anga guha pravesha. Punah na tasya anga guha pravesha. Now this guha is repeated here. Cave again. Anga guha. The cave of the body. Anga guha. Now this can be taken as the body cave. This body as the cave. Then again, the one who has realized the self, he doesn't have to enter this cave, body cave. Or another meaning can be taken. Anga guha means the mother's womb also can be taken. Anga guha. Again, one doesn't have to enter the mother's womb. That means one transcends the Janma Mrityu Chakra, or the cycle of birth and repeated cycle of birth and death. So, this is what it is. Punaha na tasya anga guha pravesha. The moment from dream to waking state is not in space and time, but from one state of consciousness to another state of consciousness. Similarly, the awakening to a higher dimension of consciousness is not in space and time. It is moving from, or rather, it is just awakening from the dream to the waking state. So from waking state to the higher dimension of consciousness, to our own real self. So pure consciousness, to our own real self. With this, we conclude the discussion on this 10 aid to meditation, comprising of 10 verses, and then the additional 3 verses and an explanation Adi Shankaracharya is giving. The beautiful verses for meditation. These 10 verses, along with the 14 reasons why we can't be the body, this has to be contemplated upon regularly. Meditated upon. And with the blessings of Param Puja Gurudev and Adi Shankaracharya himself, we should also be there. There should be no doubt about it, because even in our ignorance, we are nothing less than that. That bhava should always be there. So now if anybody has got any questions on these, may ask. We don't have much time anyway.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om, yes.
I have no words to express about today's your commentary on this last 5 to 6 verses. My heart is really dancing, Swamiji. Because
see, in meditation also,
yeah,
whenever we get a deeper insight,
exactly.
then for a few days we are in that euphoria.
Swamiji,
Yes.
daily I have made a practice to sit for at least 15-20 minutes
Mhm.
minimum.
Hmm.
If it is more, half an hour, so fine. And whatever that you have stated here,
Hmm.
I cannot say it's an experience, because I have also I have learned from you
Hmm.
that experience is a sangam of Triputi. There is no Triputi here.
There is no Triputi.
But I will describe it as in your words,
Hmm.
subjective awareness.
Yes.
As a
That is
matter
the
of
best.
fact, that word is also insufficient to convey it unless one has experience.
Yes, of course, of course. All
Uh,
the words will fall short
yes,
to describe something which is beyond words.
yeah. Now,
Only
Swamiji,
pointers,
today,
only pointers, only pointers.
exactly.
Hmm.
It cannot be handed over to anybody.
Hmm.
Now, Swamiji, today,
Hmm.
see, I'm 77, Prakash Bhai is also 77, Shama and all of them.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay.
Which
Same age, all of you. Hmm.
Yogi Bhai is much younger. Vijuman is about 5-6 years younger to us.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
And all these years that we have spent,
Hmm.
there was a pleasure and pain,
Hmm.
both.
Hmm.
But today you have killed them by introducing the word Pratibhasik Satya.
Hmm.
It appears, it's not real.
Hmm.
I'm quite sure to
Hmm.
all of us,
Hmm.
if we take all our experiences, whether it's pleasure or pain, whatever it is, it's
Hmm.
just as it appears so,
Hmm.
but they are not real.
Right.
What we call Pratibhasik Satya.
Hmm.
Even today, for last 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks,
Hmm.
we are getting the news of this war going on and all those things.
Hmm.
And then we worry about it, what is going to happen.
Hmm.
But the moment we take this, it appears that something is going to happen.
Hmm.
it takes away the fear from us.
Hmm. Right.
And particularly this meditation part, which today you have commented upon.
Hmm.
Even if iota of that experience, if we can get it,
Hmm.
by we are not going to
Hmm.
lose anything. If the worst, even if the worst is going to come,
Hmm.
because the self that I am is not going to be destroyed. It is
Hmm.
indestructible, as you have explained today.
There is nothing to lose.
Nothing to
Only thing to
lose.
lose is our ignorance.
Yeah, the wisdom lies from moving our consciousness
Hmm.
from ghost to the subtle to
Hmm.
the real ourselves.
The real self. Right.
This is what I wanted to mention. Swamiji, thank you very much.
Hmm.
You have done this 10 shlokas, 12 shlokas at Padmini's house.
Huh.
And for me, it was really a good revision.
Hmm. Hmm.
You, anyway, thank you very much for Swamiji, this one.
We
Now,
started
every
there.
night,
We did for many years. We did satsang there.
yes, many years, yeah, I
Many
know.
years we did satsang there. It was nice of her
Hmm,
to conduct this satsang, to have this satsang at a place. For many years we did that. And we started with all the Prakarana Granthas with uh, Bhaja Govindam and Tattva Bodh, Atma Bodh. We did
hmm.
Panchadashi, Vivek Chudamani, Panchadashi,
Yes, yes, Swamiji.
all that we did.
Hmm.
We have traveled a lot now, maybe 10 years, 20 years, maybe on that line.
I joined in 2008, Swamiji.
Yeah, so nearly 18 years.
Yeah,
That's a long
no-
journey, 18 years.
yeah, yeah. Now, Swamiji,
Yes.
it's a promise from all of us to you
Hmm.
that all these 10 shlokas,
Hmm. Hmm.
even for me, the last two shlokas, they are also very important.
Hmm. Right.
We'll continuously practice this,
Hmm.
contemplate upon it,
Hmm.
and get the meaning, that subjective awareness, what we call in meditation, one gets. That's our promise.
Hmm.
But my question always is one:
Hmm.
what is the next? What is?
Yeah, the thing is that this should keep playing in the background, as I said.
Yes.
In and through all our day's activities, we need not have a specific time. Of course, some time we have to devote for that in 24 hours. But even otherwise, also, in and through all the activities, also while we are traveling, also when we are not doing anything else, traveling by some vehicle. So this contemplation can go on if you are not talking with anybody and nothing like that.
Hmm.
So this should keep playing in the background. So that is how it should be always. That should be there. So otherwise, only some specific time only if we give, then it will take a longer time. But if we
Hmm.
keep playing that in the background, then it will be easier, faster.
Yes.
Mhm.
Now, Swamiji, what is next?
So next text now, let me decide which text to take because next month also I have to travel. I'll be traveling on 16th of April.
Is
So
it going to be a very long interval, Swamiji?
yeah, 16th of April I'll be traveling and I'll return on then 26th of September I'll return.
My goodness.
Yeah. So meanwhile, of course, we'll do our homework. We'll have a long time. Next week, in fact, I'll be coming to Khar.
What date?
I'll be in Khar. I'll come on 27th. I'll come to Khar because
Okay.
28th and 29th that Umesh's students I have to give some talks to them
Hmm.
on 28th and 29th.
Hmm.
So I'll be there and then maybe on the 30th. So let's see if we can meet during that time.
Yeah, I'll talk to you, Swamiji, and then inform everybody.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Then we'll decide which
Yes.
next text to take. If we are continuing on meditation, then the next topic should be the Dhyan Yoga of Bhagavad Gita.
Hmm.
That is also there. So let's
Hmm.
see. Atma
Okay.
Sanyam Yoga is there. So that we can take up also.
Is
Let's
it
see
is
now.
it is it a ninth chapter, Swamiji?
Yeah, it is the sixth chapter. It has got
Sixth
40
chapter.
odd verses. It has got.
Okay.
So let's see now how things are.
Okay.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Yes. Any question?
Swamiji, you just said you're traveling from 27th of April to September, but
29.
Zoom brings us all close by. The conduct can be from anywhere, Swamiji.
Yeah, it can. Let me see. But in some places, sometimes the internet is not enough. That doesn't work properly. That's the problem.
Oh,
Especially when I used to be in Nepal, there used to be a problem.
okay, okay,
So
okay.
from there, it is a problem. So let's see now from other
See,
places.
right, right,
If the
right,
internet is there, we can connect. No problem with that.
right, right.
Okay. And then, so we'll meet maybe next week or when I come to Khar, we may meet.
Ji, Swamiji.
So shall we conclude then?
Ji, Swamiji.
I invoke Param Puja Gurudev's grace and blessings on all of us who are present here today. May he guide us in our worldly life as well as on the spiritual path. May he grant us progress and success in our worldly life as well as on the spiritual path. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om. Hari Om to everyone.
Hari
Hari
Om
Om
Swamiji.
Hari Om
Swamiji.
Swamiji, Hari Om.
Hari Om
Hari
Swami,
Om.
Hari Om Swami.
Hari Om.